Alright, Toyota lovers, welcome back for another video. Today we've got some awesome content coming for you guys. We teamed up with SuperSprings International to bring you some awesome content with their SumoSprings. So they sent us 4 SumoSprings for our 2012 Toyota Tundra, 2 for the rear and 2 for the front. Today we're going to be installing our front set on our front suspension. They're going to directly replace our stock bump stops. They come with the instructions, but we figured it'd be a good idea to make an installation video for the front and for the back, as well as a review for the total change on how it feels. Overall, we're really excited for this video, and hopefully we can work again in the future. I want to give a huge shout out to SuperSprings International. Check them out at www.supersprings.com. Check out their Instagram, SuperSprings International. They are awesome. They have some really good content. They worked really hard to make sure we had the products that we needed to bring some awesome content to you directly. Now, I also want you to know that it doesn't matter if you have a Dodge or if you have a Nissan. Although we do love Toyotas, they have all types of products. They have Super Springs, they have Sumo Springs, they have Sumo Coil Springs. They have for all types of trucks and all types of SUVs, whether it be for towing or whether it be for off-roading or whether it be for those nasty potholes. They have great products that anyone can use. Make sure to check them out. Put in your make, model, and year so you can see what's available for your vehicle. I highly recommend them, and everybody should check them out. So I want to give you a close-up look with what we're going to be working with. So right here we have one of our front Sumo Springs. This is going to be replacing your stock bump stops. In specific, the part number to this is SSF-604-40. I'm going to have a link to the part in the description so that you can use this. This is used in the Tacoma. It's also used in the Hilux as well as the Tundra. So in general, it's going to be the same application, but when you go to their website, all you have to do is put in your specific make and model and the personal information for your vehicle, and they'll tell you exactly what part you need for your truck. So we're back in our workspace and we have our tools as well as our parts. So I'm just going to run you through what you need. The first thing that we have is our adjustable wrench. There's different types of wrenches that you can use, but we chose this one because it's what we had, and it's gonna work fine. So the second thing that we have is our Loctite that comes in here. You gotta make sure to have this. The third thing I wanted to show you is the old bump stop. This is what you're replacing. It's very hard. It doesn't do any dampening. It's basically when your suspension bottoms out, it bottoms out, and this is what it's gonna hit instead of hitting metal. So what we're replacing this little tiny bump stop with is our Sumo Spring. We have this big Sumo Spring, and if you want to compare it side by side, this is literally the difference. It is a huge difference. It's about 2 inches of a different size. So instead of going straight to a bump stop and basically having no more travel, you hit this earlier on and it helps cushion it. And you can see it's a little bit softer, but definitely not soft enough for my hands. And also when you are carrying weight and you step on the brakes and it nosedives, this helps your truck to keep it from nosediving, which can be really bad for your suspension and in general bad on your truck. So we're gonna move on to the installation. So we're gonna be doing the left side of this truck. Obviously it's copy and paste, so the same way you do this side is the other side. You have 2 choices. There's 2 bump stops up front. You have one on the front side of the suspension, one on the back. We chose to do the back side just because it was basically random. If you wanted to, you could buy 2 sets of these and replace both of them. I don't see a problem with that, but one is more than enough for what you need unless you really were looking for something specific. So now we're gonna get under there and give you a closer look at what we're gonna be working with. So now we're underneath our front left fender, and when you go into your suspension, you see your upper control arm, your coil, and you see 2 bump stops here. One is right behind the coil and one is directly behind it towards the back of the truck. So this is the one that we're actually going to be replacing, and it's a very simple process. If you want to, you could do the other one. We didn't do it because this one simply was easier. And like I said, if your truck is not lifted and you don't have space right here, you gotta jack it up and make sure you do it safely and follow the instructions that come in your SumoSprings package. So you're gonna get your wrench and you're gonna adjust it to the correct size. And it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, and it comes loose. Now all you gotta do is go through the grueling process of unscrewing the stock bump stop. So after a couple minutes of turning my wrench, I've got my old tiny little bump stop off, and now we're gonna move on to installing our SumoSpring. So we're putting our Loctite on our SumoSpring. Just make sure to get it on the thread so that you can have it done really well. Use your little tube that comes in the packaging for this. This is specifically what it's for. And that should be about good. So when you jack up the front left of this truck by the frame, it will raise the frame so you will be able to sneak this in. My truck right now, I was not able to do it. How I did it since it's lifted is I had two people sit in the back right corner to lift it just enough to be able to sneak it in, but it barely worked. So I highly recommend getting a jack and jacking it up by the frame in this front left corner. And once you do that, you just line this up. Make sure you do not cross thread it because this is a thread that's in the frame. You do not want to cross thread this. That would be a giant pain, and I really don't even think you'd be able to replace that or rethread it that easily. So all you're gonna do is tighten it, really. And I'm about done. And just like that, I have replaced my old stock bump stops with the stabilizing SumoSprings. And we're gonna get back to you on how they help us on the road. Thanks for tuning in today. This was an awesome install that we did today. This was part 1 to our SumoSpring install, which is the front end of the suspension. Tune in for part 2. It's gonna be the rear end where we install our rear kit for our rear axle, and we get to test out how it is before and after. Now, I wanna give a special thanks to SuperSprings because they're an awesome company. They took the time out of their day to work with us and send us some components to bring out a video for you guys. You can check them out at www.supersprings.com. Check them out on Instagram. They have some awesome content on their new components that they have. They also have a lot of components for trailering as well as for off-road trucks. We specifically got this because we spoke to them and knew that this would work for our application because we like driving on whoops. So this will help with the compression when we're going on deeper whoops in any type of sand environment, which we have that in Florida. Now, make sure that you check out our next video. It's gonna be great, and we're gonna make sure to have a before and after on the suspension on this truck so you can see our personal opinion on how it affected our drive. Now make sure to like and subscribe and check out our future content, and remember, it's a Yoda world.